Hey, folks, this is Rebel Rouse and Rich Bergeron.
Yo, it's the Tornado Tony Pentecost. And Psychic Combat with your crystal ball red hot. Ready to go.
All right, well, we could have used you last week, Tom, because you were supposed to tell me that Neil Magny was going to have a miracle win, and man, some guy actually put a meme out on social media talking about how Neil Magny ruined everybody's parlays, and I was one of those people.
It just goes to show a cagey veteran
Yeah.
is hard to stop, even if their skills are deteriorating, but that experience, and if the young stud is undefeated, how often have we seen this again and again? In the undefeated guy that no one goes the distance, he can't get the older guy out.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the cardio, oh God, it's easy. And then
this is like a tough bet to make on this guy too for me, because I had just seen him in Boston get smoked by Ian Gary, like smoked from overhead, literally, like watching him get beaten the crap out of. And Mike Maylot like stops everybody. 15 seconds left in the fight, and Neil Magny wins. It's a walk-off knockout.
yeah,
The 9.
Maylot was gassed. I mean, you could just tell he had. I'm not going to argue the stoppage. He didn't argue the stoppage.
Yeah.
He didn't even get up. Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah. So I really didn't hit any home runs on this card. I thought Strickland won. Dana White agreed with me on one thing. Strickland.
Well, I thought that 4 of those rounds were easy to score for me.
It's all about the takedowns for the judges, I bet. The takedowns and a little bit of
round. With the second round, I thought John started off good in the first round. The jab was incredible. What do we say every week? The most important punch in a fight is the jab.
Yeah.
And he was doing a paint job on it. But in that second round, it seemed like Drickus started to make Sean back up. Because the key to this fight to me was simple. If the guy that's backing up is not leading the dance, they're both forward fighters. And I think Drickus got a little bit of momentum, and I think it kept going, and then Son kicked it in. The fifth round was easy to score, but I have no problem calling it 3-2 for Drickus. But I think that second round, it was so close.
Yeah. I had a tough time. I had a tough time watching and thinking about this promise that Strickland made and shook hands with DuPlessis at the press conference where he said, we're going to get in there and kill each other. And then,
to the death.
Yeah, to the death. And, DuPlessis looked nervous. And he was kind of like, okay, I'll shake your hand for the cameras, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I'm going to do a technical fight. And that's what it ended up being. But, DuPlessis, I even said to Tony last week, he's known for having no gas tank, so a guy like Sean Strickland has an unlimited gas tank, but the problem was he didn't have really the knockout punch.
Yeah, he didn't have that eraser.
Yeah.
Going into that round, obviously, and he's up the early round. That Vegas was breathing out of his mouth. He looked like he was starting to wind down, but he just kept coming on.
He got a second win a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's adrenaline.
It's I know from the boxing world, those South African guys, this goes back to the 70s with Kelly Kanitsa and Harry Cortia. And then, of course, look who knocked out Klitschko, a gentleman named Corey Sanders. These South African guys seem to have a point to prove. They feel they've got whatever it is.
There's a rich boxing tradition in South Africa. I actually, as a kid, saw a book at the bookstore, grabbed it, and it was called The Power of One. And they made a movie out of it. Wasn't a Oscar winning movie, but it was like one main famous actor in it, and they didn't really do the book justice, but it all surrounded this kid who learned to box from this German guy down there in South Africa, and then he ended up teaching like the whole prison population to box, and he became like legendary. They called him the Tadpole Angel for some reason. It's a weird South African thing. Anyway, so at the end of the book, after he learns how to fight, um, at the beginning you get the story about how this one kid at boarding school like bullied the shit out of him before he knew how to box, before he ended up learning from this guy at the prison. And so anyway, he learns how to box and everything like that, and he ends up working in these diamond mines for some reason. And that's what they do in Africa. So he's working in the diamond mines, and he ends up in a bar, and he's dealing with this guy. Turns around, this guy comes in all raging from too much noise in the mines all day, and it turns out to be the same dude who bullied him growing up. And he fucking knocks him out at the end of the book. Yeah. So it's a great plot. It was a really good, cool story to get into. But I mean, it shows you a lot about like the history of South Africa in general. The blacks versus the whites, and the Boer War they called it, and it's just all kinds of crazy history that I never knew about. You don't really learn a lot about in school. Yeah, it's just it's a pretty intense territory. I mean, if you think about it, it's like growing up in a secret wartime environment, you know, like the civil rights movement was permanent for decades there. It's just ridiculous. And that was like kind of a story of how blacks and whites could work together. And he used to say in the book, the trainer used to tell him, little can beat big, first with the head, then with the heart. That's something I never forgot after reading that book. And it's a very true statement. You got to be smart. And then you need heart at the end. A really tough fight. But first you have to be smart. So anyway, Dricus was a little bit smart. He was cautious. He still got hit, and then he just saved a little bit of energy for the end. Sean, I thought, just wanted to coast. He wanted to get a decision, and then Dricus bloodied him up and made it close and made it ugly. And usually, you get to that point at the end of the fight, and you think, Sean obviously won by at least a round. You got to take it from the champ, they say. But at the same time, people love the underdog, and they just like to get into the story of a guy who's going to be the new champion. And Sean Strickland came in with a lot of controversy, pissing a lot of people off in the transgender community. Uh, oh, yeah.
John Strickland, and that's why he's loved.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah.
I think they'll get an immediate remake. But
Well, I mean, the pictures say everything. After the fight, I mean, I didn't see a lot of Strickland, but I saw a lot of pictures of DuPlessis, and I wanted to do my own meme of, I don't know if you guys remember that movie Mask with the kid I think it was Cher was his mother in the movie. And the kid, like,
um,
yeah. So I was gonna superimpose the mask guy's face on Dricus and the new champion. Yeah, it was disgusting. Yeah. Yeah, so I would just say, he just needs a couple more tools in the tool bag, like, maybe some more knees, elbows here and there. He tended to just coast and move and throw shots only when he really absolutely had to. And I don't know. I
Yeah,
think if he had a little bit more killer instinct, he could have won that fight earlier.
and like you said, he was moving, and some fights are very simple.
Yeah.
It's easy and simple. They other guys back up because of them are forward, so they don't have it. So I just knew in those middle rounds, this is not the sign to fight Izzy.
Right.
Because Izzy now, Izzy was a counter fighter, and he looked at him, and he but didn't do it on time. I'll pick fight. This one, you had this feeling that this was just kept that forward pressure.
And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but in the co-main event, Raquel Pennington became the new bantamweight champion with a win over Myra Bueno Silva. Unanimous decision, all 5 rounds. Bueno Silva obviously does not have nearly the amount of experience that Pennington has, and made it a long, brutal fight. It really,
Silva just could not back up all that.
yeah.
I'm keeping couple with Trashcock. I mean, you look so different. I'm going to tell her, I fell asleep. What I was worried about is this was going so late that everything seemed to be going to the distance, and I was just hoping I wouldn't fall asleep for the main event.
Yeah.
So that was, God.
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to talk, but at least Ali was back. There's an old picture, and that's what.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, as we talked about, Neil Magny did it with 15 seconds left. The bastard. Fucked all my parlays up. Chris Curtis at middleweight got a very good split decision win over Marc Andre Barriault. Barriault was like one of the only Canadians that smeared it. No, he has a couple of them.
Canada went.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Evloev came in and beat up Arnold Allen. I saw that one coming. That was in one of my parlays that would have hit if Magny lost. Evloev, I figured would win by decision, but I had like the double chances mixed up with it by TKO or decision or by submission or decision. Arnold, I thought would win by submission, if anything, and he didn't even get a chance. It was just kind of an Evloev fight. Garrett Armfield. I saw a lot of suggestions to go for Katona, but I saw his last fight and I really thought this jab was kind of like um basically all that won him that fight, and it wasn't really something that was going to match up on a higher level. And Armfield pretty much proves that. That, it wasn't going to take much to get around that style, and he did. And he won by unanimous decision. So I had that one hedged. They did have a couple on Katona just in case. I had that well hedged. And Sean Woodson, I had him the same. It's like a straight. I think I had like 2 of them. They were like 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5. Charles Jourdain, though, was also favored by a lot of the experts on the betting shows. And Woodson won by split decision there. It was kind of a weird fight because Woodson's very tall, lanky, and Jourdain, he actually, it was a recommendation that is such high odds, plus 500, that Jourdain would get a submission. They suggested just betting that. And Woodson, It's one of those guys. If you get him to the ground, he's so spindly. You could probably get an armbar real quick, but that's if he lets you. and, he didn't really let anything up, and he played a very smart game on the feet. And it was an interesting fight, but Jourdain was not going to demolish him from round one. He made that clear. He was going to make it a tight fight. And then we had Jillian Robertson doing what she does, finishing, and usually it's by submission, but this time it was TKO in the second round. Kind of screwed up a lot of my early parlays because I figured it would be by submission or decision. I did not have TKO on my dance card. And then Sam Patterson, I did have him hedged back and forth. It was a 50-50 fight to me, and I thought Patterson had just enough stoppages to make him worth a bet. So that was my pick for that one, and he won by rear naked choke, 2 minutes and 3 seconds into the fight. Then we had Jasmine Juicidavicius, good name for a fighter, beating Priscilla Cachoeira by anaconda choke. That was 4 minutes and 21 seconds into the third. Opening fight of the night. Talk about a comeback. This is another one that probably screwed up a lot of people's parlays from the jump if they made them before the whole card. First fight of the night, Malcolm Gordon is demolishing this kid, Jimmy Flick, and he rolls out of one submission, gets out of another, wrestles a little bit more, punches the guy. Looks like he's just gonna finish him off, and then Jimmy gets this crazy submission. Boom. Arm triangle choke. Done. 1 minute and 17 seconds into the second round. I was just like, whoa, there goes all mine. Early stuff. I had him. I had him hedged on that too. All right, so we got a couple news stories. Oh, jeez, what is this? That's ESPN. We got a couple news stories. The PFL has lost a longtime veteran of their ranks, Kayla Harrison. And guess what? They're going to throw her to the lions in the UFC. They have signed her up, and they're going to put her in UFC 300 against Holly Holm, a excellent kickboxer, former professional boxer, and has been doing MMA for quite a while. Kayla Harrison started in jiu-jitsu, right, Tom? Jiu-jitsu? Yeah.
She was a
Judo.
good,
Judo. Yeah.
and she played a ground fighter.
Yep.
She's like the streets.
Well, um, it would have also, if she stayed, would have put her on a collision course with Chris Cyborg. So, uh, yeah, boxing. Oh, the boxing match. Yeah, yeah. She started doing that, and I don't know. She's probably not making anything near Ngannou can make in a fight, but I bet you she makes more doing it than some of the MMA fights she's been in. But anyway, Harrison is actually going to drop 20 pounds from lightweight in order to fight at UFC 300. I don't see how she's
It's
even
gonna be a
fucking do that.
challenge. She's big.
Yeah.
So that's all.
I guess so. A win for them, either one could put them on path to fight Pennington. Well, look at that. Crazy stuff. Yeah. It's going to be a drain on her.
She was
Yeah. I agree. We'll switch gears for a second to a big wrestling story. Haven't talked about wrestling in quite a while. Professional wrestling, WWE. Well, we've talked about them in that respect with the UFC buyout, but not much else. Tony, you get your Netflix payments up to date? Get your subscription renewed?
friend.
Yeah. Well, they're taking over WWE's Raw. Netflix is $6.7 billion deal.
Woo.
Yeah. Mm.
With that
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think they went into more traditional sports. Saudi Arabia in general was doing all that sports washing, and so they ended up getting bought out by the UFC. No, just Raw, I guess. Just Raw right now.
great big change. Read the announcement. Thank God my friend had. He, he cut Paramount one screen half, right? So it used to be back in the you know, SmackDown or USA or whatever it was.
Well, this says that Netflix would pay $5 billion over 10 years to stream WWE's Raw and carry all other WWE shows and specials outside the United States.
Okay, so once again, if you want to watch to like
So that must mean there's some that will be inside the United States that will be on their network. That's got to be so their other network partnerships that they're still going to use one of those.
like you can't imagine wrestling fans that aren't on. No, maybe someone knows something I don't. Right, exactly. You know, speaking of wrestling, like yesterday, yesterday or the day before, it might have been the day before. I think it was the 27th anniversary of one of the most historical moments in wrestling history. Maybe 1880. We moved into the first grand, my grand. So we moved we get table with a premium channel and first carried on Phillies games, carried Flyers games, Sixers games, carried movies, and it carried the monthly list, which will have part every month. Right after that happened, Krogan wins the title.
Hmm.
And I'm watching this monthly wrestling guy that I knew from Wrestling 3. And he was going further than life. And I was like, getting thrown. He's like,
Oh,
you know about something 40 years ago, the other day, and I was 10 years old.
yeah, oh, those are the days. I can remember watching some WrestleManias at my friend's house who was madly in love with WWE. And yeah, I kind of got into some of the characters. Um, one good friend of mine introduced me to hunting snakes as a kid, so I was a huge fan of Jake the Snake.
You could say, yeah,
Huge fan of him.
Take really
Yeah,
I don't like steak either. Yeah, as soon as they come on, I think I'm out.
yeah.
Yeah, no, around. They can't even eat me.
Yeah. Hey.
Jake Snake, pretty interesting character now because he was always one of the great psychology. Never yelled all in his interviews. Real low, real deliberate, sinister. I was, you know what? He
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
wants you to wear a neon green, neon green. And he want you to wear these whatever. And start it. And he goes, we want you to bring a 3 foot bolting restrictor over. That shit I ain't carrying it. Goddamn thing. They showed me. And he goes, I've never seen so many zeros in my life. And I
Mhm.
was so high as a kite. Give me them neon green strong. So
Mhm.
anyway, give me that damn snake.
Yeah,
Snake.
yeah. It's interesting. Interesting character. Um.
I love the shit interviews. Mm. You remember the $1 million man?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Mr. Perfect.
Real life. Ted DiBiase concept was a professional boxer named Iron Mike DiBiase.
Oh, there
He
you go.
was the last guy that
Oh no shit. That's crazy.
and then he yeah, what he would tell a story. They said they used to go over Japan a lot. Man, on the elevator. And he goes, Japan is a small country, but they have heavily, heavily populated. And they let people in everywhere. He goes, we get on this elevator, and every floor is stopping, and two, three little Japanese people are going. He goes, we can't move in there. And he goes, Andre just looks at me and he winks, and I'm like, oh God, what's he gonna do? And next thing you know, he left out a 30 second fart. So,
That's bad. Yeah, there was also the Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. I remember him a lot being talked about in the 80s. And yeah, he had talked about a lot in the last few years because of the murder he apparently got away with. But it's ridiculous, crazy. Next story. Yeah, unreal things you find out later on. But yeah, and yeah, WWE was pretty big growing up.
yeah,
It's not since.
you know, really nice, super nice to see.
Mhm.
It's like great. And when they were, you know, I mean, this is Phillies from the very here. They can be like, you're beautiful people. You just embrace that character. That's just plain thing to him. Plain thing. It's just because I was gimmick to any character and a t-shirt. What's wrong with it? Like, you're kind of like became that character. And hearing from a guy that was a he didn't think it's easy for that.
Yeah. No, it can be really brutal. I mean, they do beat each other up quite good.
And basically a 50-50 trivia question with two answers. One of them is right, one of them is
Hmm.
right. I am fortunate, you know, and I score from the 20 round thing I did last night, or my score from the three tickets thing I did 2 days ago.
Virtual boxing.
Creed,
Nice.
Creed, you know. Oh, did I send you the clip of that game that I got? No. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, did I tell you about it? I got
Is it one of those headset things?
it. All of them virtual headsets.
Oh my god.
Fucking thing. And he could do like like a bowling game or something. Like a game for the game. Uh, you can't do a lot of different stuff. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download bowling. It feels like you're in the out. You see all the people watching you, they cheer for you. Pick a valley where you're on the beach, you're picking ball and you're playing ball, and that's bowling. Then I gotta download Creed, Rise to Glory, and then fish. You download it, right? Now you can pick things of it. I mean, to be Jordan, you can be Gabe Rosado. I know some is in the game because he was in the first Creed movie. you can be Danny Man Wheeler. They would take a reward. It's a reward. You can be Plumber. You can be please. If you really you want to fight him, you literally in the ring. You see the wall. You see that you're doing it in the ring. And okay, some people throw little punches here and there, and they're having fun. Not me. Like, me in the chatting room. It's the bridge. Yeah, and then what? That's a bad briefing. Then slows down. He goes eating becomes
Oh, jeez.
these Chicago one time I don't remember. But like then it was like then you can go into the gym and do like drill bag.
I've seen clips. I've seen clips of, I don't know if it's that movie, but people doing headset boxing stuff with handheld things. And they really get into it. I mean, it's real. It seems real.
So I get in.
They really start going nuts. I got to get into my box balling thing. I haven't really touched it much, but
I mean, in there, you feel like you are in a real six. I mean, they get the crowd going, and you know,
so what's the headset name?
Metaquest 3.
Metaquest 3. Check those out. It was the times.
Green and you keep doing it. You'll keep. Yes.
Yeah. Well, boxing. We got to talk boxing. We got the last week's results and then upcoming stuff this week. I bet you whatever you do on the headset, Tony, is better than the last Creed movie, right?
I mean, to be Creed, I mean,
Tom, you missed our double angel fight card last week that we were talking about in Juarez, Mexico, but you're not going to miss the results. We had an angel win on one side and an angel lose on the other side. But yeah, one of them was for a title. Angel Daniel Garcia Molina. You know what we say about poor named Latinos. But usually it's Jesus. This time it was Angel. And the Angel was undefeated, but he lost by TKO to Miguel Esparza Cruz, who also was undefeated and still is. 13-0 now for the IBF North American Super Featherweight title. It was obviously a rough fight for Angel. The other one on that card for a title, IBF North American Super Flyweight, Argy Cortez winning that one. 26 4-2, beating Victor Emmanuel Oluo, who falls to 21 4-1. And then the other Angel fight was a win for Angel Talavera Carrillo, improves to 13-1. Yes, 13 was the lucky number. Carlos Vargas Jaquez was his opponent, won by 8-round unanimous decision. Vargas falls to 17-2. And then Saturday, overseas fights going on. Liverpool, we had a couple titles on the line, British titles, but 22-4-1. Jack Cullen lost by unanimous decision to Zach Shelley. Only 14-2-1 at super middleweight. And then IBF welterweight title was on the line. Female fight. Natasha Jonas and Michaela Meyer. And Jonas won by split decision. Proves to 15-2-1. McMeyer falls to 19-2. And then Mark Jeffers stayed undefeated. 17-0 now with a unanimous decision over Jermaine Brown. Also 13-3 at super middleweight. And earlier on in the night, we had a first round knockout for Jack Massey. Proves to 21-2. And beating 8-1 Steve Iliondo Natere as a cruiserweight. Oof. Let's see how much this. We had the old Universal Boxing Organization World Super Lightweight title on the line in Louisville, the Muhammad Ali Museum. Samantha Warmington got the unanimous decision over Yasmin Rivas. Rivas coming in at 40 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw. Must have been a female fight. So I don't think I've ever heard of a guy named Samantha. 7-0. Yasmin, I might see going both male or female there, but. All right, so then we get into Friday. There wasn't much going on Friday. So, upcoming now. We actually have fights going on 2 nights, don't we? 2 nights. I think they're on the results page because they haven't been decided yet, obviously. The 2 stars. Yeah. Tonight we have one fight's already decided. Steve Claggett winning up in Montreal. 38-7-2 is the record now. Won in the second round. Retired Marcos Gonzalez Barraza. Falls to 23-4. And there's our Jesus fight of the week. It's coming up next. Jesus has to walk on water in this one. He's a 6-0 fighter. Has to be the 10-0-1 fighter at super featherweights. Jesus Gomez Adorno fighting Avery Martin Duval. 10-1. 10-0-1. Then the big feature fight on this one for the title is North American Boxing Federation Super Middleweight Championship. Eric Bazinian, 31-0, fighting Billy Facundo Godoy, who's 41-7 at super middleweight. And then a light heavyweight matchup between Albert Ramirez, 17-0, and Artur Ziatadinov, who is 15-1. Light heavyweights. Montreal Casino in Montreal. Sounds like a good one. Okay, so upcoming tomorrow night, we've got some Philippines fights worth mentioning. Uh, 2 titles on the line: IBF Pan Pacific Bantamweight and Oriental and Pacific Boxing Federation Bantamweight title. Froilan Saludar, he's 34-7-1, fighting Kita Korihara, who's 17-8-1. Nothing spectacular. Rings out on the rest of that one. WBC International Super Welterweight title on the line in Germany. Ermal Hadrebiaj, 17-0-1, fighting Bodan Shatonda, who's 8-0. Super welterweight in that fight. Yeah, these tough names to pronounce. Oh, this is a great name for a town full of boxers. That's somebody's name. Female fight going on here. Some foreign country. Can't really tell what the flag is, but Sheila Martinez, 6-3, number 13 in the world at featherweight, female fighter. She's fighting a 10-rounder, 2-minute rounds against Anel Angerville. That's her name.
Yeah.
Angerville. She's 6-2-1, and she is the mayor of Angerville. Is EBU European featherweights. Or this is going to be for the EBU European Featherweight Championship. Oh, if that wasn't a good enough name for you, somewhere else in the world, Tanzania, I guess, we have a guy whose name, and he's undefeated, name is Ibrahim Mafia. Mafia. He's fighting Albert Camario. Mafia is 7-0. Camario is 9-0-1 at bantamweight. So that's how somebody's always got to go fight. It's Camario versus the Mafia. Julius Dongo also on this card Saturday. He is 24-9, super welterweight, and he's fighting Richard Matangi, who's 4-1-1. There's a lot of stuff going on in African continent this weekend. Another one in Zanzibar, Hassan Mwakinyo, who is 21-3, fighting Bayu Kanku, who's 11-6-1. Goes for the WBO Africa middleweight title, which is vacant. IBO World Flyweight vacant title is up for grabs in the UK. We got Kwesi Kadimi, 10-1 with 2 draws, fighting Jackson Chowkey, who's 23-2-2. Flyweight. Let's see, we got some fights in Dubai. Dubai at the Cuban Boxing Club. Abdul Azizi Sabulun, who is 11-1, fighting Yair Mamalejo Rojas, 10-1-2 at lightweight. Yeah, nothing too crazy there. And in Belfast, got some DAZN action. Got a couple of DAZN cards this Saturday. Lewis Crocker, 18-0, fighting number 24 in the world, Jose Felix at welterweight. Felix is 40-6 with 1 draw, fighting for the WBO Intercontinental welterweight title. And then you can't have an Irish card without a guy named Paddy on it. Paddy Donovan. Paddy Donovan, Paddy for good measure. He is 12-0, fighting Williams Andres Herrera, who is 15-2 at welterweight. I think they're going to be rooting for Herrera. I don't know. What do you guys think? And then if you got a Paddy, you got to have a Tommy. Tommy McCarthy, 20-5 at cruiserweight, fighting for the WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight title, which is vacant. He's fighting Chivon Clark, 7-0. And then we got Lloyd Germain, 9-0 at welterweight, fighting Kona Walker, who's 12-2-1. And then we go to Phoenix, Arizona, another DAZN card. Jamie Munguia, 42-0, facing John Ryder, who is 32-6 at super middleweight. This is number 3 Munguia versus number 4 Ryder. So WBC silver super middleweight.
Well, going in the fight, Ryder took that hellacious beating against a year ago, and I mean, I know he went bloodied up, he got beaten up, he got knocked down. Perfect next forward man like Jaime Munguia. You know, he's a good player, he's well when he's getting big, but I think he started at 1. Now he's playing at 168, still into it. and he'd bring his power, to weight class. And so I'm thinking what we're going to see here is like the monkey Strickland. It's probably going to be a late, but I think it's going to be monkey raking him over the coals over the course of the 12 rounds
Yeah.
and winning the decision.
You don't get to be 42 no by accident.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know if this guy's related to Luis, but he's got the same last name, Collazo, Oscar Collazo. He is number 2 at minimum weight. Probably not related to Luis then. He's a heavier guy. He's fighting Ramirez Gutierrez, who is 10-1. That's for the WBO World Minimum Weight title. And I'm betting the belt weighs more than the contestants. Minimum weight. What is that? 20 pounds? 17 pounds. No, just kidding. Gabriella, sorry, is also on the card. She's 12-0, fighting Christina Cruz, 6-0 for the IBF World Female Flyweight title. That's a 10-round, 2-minute round fight. So that'd be a good one to watch if you're a female fight fan. And we got Picasso fight of the week. Alan Picasso Romero. He's going to paint you a picture in the boxing ring. He's 26-0-1, fighting Eric Ruiz, who is 17-9-1 at super bantamweight. Then one way down on the card, we got Darius Fulgham. He's undefeated, looking for win number 10, 9-0. Fighting Atlantes Fox, who's 28-5-1 at super middleweight. You'd think he would easily win this fight, but he has lost 3 of his last 5, so. This one's for a title, though. WBA Intercontinental Super Middleweight title. Let's see. Oh, we got another Angel fight of the week on Wednesday before our next show. Oh, it's Angelo, not Angel. Sorry. Angelo. It's a 22-1 fighting Mike Plania. 29-3. Angelo Leon. This is Mike Plania. That's a featherweight fight. And then we got Romero Duno, 26-3, fighting Antonio Moran, 29-6-1 at lightweight. And Christopher Pearson, 17-3-1, fighting Trevor McCumbee, who's 27-0 at super middleweight. That's it for this week. All the big stuff. Gonna be coming close to that big fight soon, aren't we? The big heavyweights.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Next month.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a ethics question here. Do I get my boxing fan card revoked if I don't order the fight because I'm actually at a live fight?
No.
Even annual channels like my anger.
You have your phone. You can watch it on your phone.
Anyway, yeah. When you're think of when what you was doing was you cracking them. We were like, oh. we were, there was nowhere in the town was cable where we could stay. We were tracking them on our feet. It was funny. And he was like, wait, like, wait, like he was contradicting him. He goes, for Deontay Wilder, he goes, they knew him from the 2008 Olympics when Jimmy was one of the team members. He goes, I've never seen a person with such a talent. His jab, register, those guys right there. You know, and we getting, you know,
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, that had to be just the dumbest stand probably in the history of serving guys like that, say 1930s and 40s version of. Did that punch come out of his field and every skin like danger got increasingly he was taken free um really moving.
Yeah. Trainers and speedily raised for the kingdom was Steve McGurk. Man, let me down. To let you go up. The other one, which is maybe the most famous saying during a stoppage of all time, was down son. Nobody will ever forget what you've done here today. Yeah.
You know, um, it's when he returned and make sure them saying, saying, it's, it's another new way. For your family. You know,
Well, it's funny you mention that. We have actually anniversary of the death of not today, but it was recent. Death of Goody Petronelli. I actually got reminded of that in my email today uh, to say something on his legacy page. Garino was his real name. Garino. Uh, Retired Master Chief in the U.S. Navy from 1941 to 1969. And world renowned boxing trainer from 69 to 2012. Ah, lived in Sagamore Beach. We died. But yeah, I met him in person, and he was still so very proud of Marvelous Marvelous. I mean, Marvelous Marvin. Uh, just and stacks and stacks of these signed headshots of him that say "Best wishes from the middleweight champion of the world," and he gave me one first day I met him, and we got him on the show and talked to him about Rocky, one of his great friends, and all kinds of good stuff. And my favorite moment in the gym, I know I've told you guys probably 100 times, but I got to say it while I'm mentioning Petronelli anytime I talk about him. Because I was up there hitting the bag, and I don't know how old he was, 3 or 4, but the guy who beat Mike Tyson in his last fight there, uh, Kevin McBride was getting trained by Goody, and it was late in his career. He wasn't winning any titles or beating anybody famous at that point. But I'm up there in the gym screwing around. Goody's about to get in the ring with Kevin, and I turn around and there's Kevin's little son calling me dad. He thinks I'm his father. No, I'm not that good. But goody, yeah, that was a very unique gym too, and I don't know if they really preserved it at all, but I think they had to renovate the actual gym itself. It's not used for that purpose. I know that, but it was an incredible little place.
You know, Rocky had 49 professional fights. It had something like he was like 62, 3-2, and along those lines. So you figure they're 67 and 49 right there.
Yeah.
A pretty good number of straight. Only 3 times this even. I said something like, "What do you guys in the war from back and these guys are such great shit?" He said, "Well, you know,
That's why I'm glad we were able to save all the stuff on Blog Talk Radio because that's one of those good interviews that's up there. And yeah, there's a lot of people we talked to are gone now in the Rocky circle. Um, Crazy. I wonder if Dennis is even still out there. We'll have to find him someday, see what he's doing. Probably try to sell me something. He was always into the latest sales trend. Anyway, uh guess that's about all for my content. But yeah, rest in peace, Goody.
Creed game, meeting it for virtual ring. Like, we need to put you in a padded room because there's like a little joystick on the handle in your hand that can make you move from forth. You can walk to the center of the ring and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to get another big
that's the
check
thing
from
I
that
know.
state. I'm gonna dump some money on this thing. You know what's funny is the guys that were involved in Zions bankruptcy. Um, one of the guys that was co-CEO that I interviewed, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we go to your website to find out all the information about the company." So that guy Kirk Sanford, he went and started a company that allows you not only it's not just about playing each other, but you play each other and you gamble against each other on the same platform for head-to-head games. Uh, and there's like certain games offered, and you sign up for the service, and you agree to the bet, and then you play. It was, I don't know if it caught on, but it was a new gimmick for them, and uh, they said, "Geez, they'll think of anything now." Um, but yeah, this sounds like something I could get into. It's just like box ball, and you strap it to your head.
Yeah.
That this is a little bit more visual. Uh, yeah, I was always curious to how that stuff would go, but I'll end up buying every game for it and spending 24 hours a day using it. We'll see. It looks pretty slick. I'm looking at the actual website for it right now. Metaquest 3. We'll have to see if they want to sponsor the website. Send us a free one. We'll all get free ones and talk about how we fight each other before the show.
Something that were, pretty cool, like seeing a guy like Gabriel in the game.
Yeah,
Remember Gabriel when he was
yeah,
his trainer, and then that he made the Creed movie, and then he's character in the game. It's pretty cool. Very rooted in the game, and Danny Van Wheel from Creed 2. You have Steven Drago, Lang, Drago, Ivan Shin from Creed. And then they have some no name guys on there that are they're just characters in the game to like fight your way in. But the trick is they Creed the storylines are from the you play a career mode, you're playing more as a lead on a Creed character. Where if you have like in there it's like you know No Mason Dixon, no Antonio.
Good.
Nico.
Next time.
I mean,
All right. Well, I'll check it out. And we'll chat next week.
right. All right, guys. All right, you then.
Thanks for stopping by.